Trump was speaking on his tax bill, and then I also want to address really quickly his call with Ukraine, or I'm sorry, his call with Putin from Russia. Let's talk about it.
We took out 5.1 billion. If you take a look, 5.1 trillion with a T, not a B. 5.1 trillion out of the Middle East. They're investing more than that. It's going to be ultimately more than that. With 180 wide-body Boeing aircraft. They're spending money at levels that nobody's ever seen. Usually a president goes for a trip and he loses money. In other words, he gives money. We went for a trip and we took out $5.1 trillion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. And that's just the beginning. So I think we're a very unified party. The Senate's doing great. John Thune is doing fantastically. He's a great guy. And we're going to have a bill, the one big beautiful bill. I think it's going to be, it's the biggest bill ever passed, and we got to get it done. Tremendous tax cuts for people, tremendous incentives, tremendous regulation cuts, all these regulations that are so horrible.
Are Republicans still grandstanding in your view?
Oh yeah, sure. You have a couple who will grandstand, but I think even the grandstanders should look. The alternative is a 68% tax increase, and you can blame the Democrats for that and one or two grandstanders. We only have one or two. But we have tremendous support. But you'll have a 68% tax increase, or you'll get a massive tax decrease. You'll get a tax cut, the likes of which we've never had before. This is bigger than any Ronald Reagan.
I wonder where you got that number from, 68% tax increase.
Tax cut, it's even bigger than the tax cut that I gave, because as you know, that's being extended and increased. So this is the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, or you'll get a 68% tax increase. And if that happens, I mean, what Republican could vote for that to happen? Because they wouldn't be a Republican much longer. They would be knocked out so fast. But we're going up to details. This is I'm a cheerleader for this party, and I'm a cheerleader for the country. Much more importantly for the country. But I'm a cheerleader for the party, and we're going to go up, and I think we're going to have a very good discussion. There are one or two points that some people feel strongly about, but maybe not so strong.
On one of those points, do you consider some of the proposals on the table in co-pay and provider tax as a benefit cut? How are you viewing those?
No, we are looking at one thing. We're not doing any cutting of anything meaningful. The only thing we're cutting is waste, fraud, and abuse. With Medicaid, waste, fraud, and abuse. There's tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse. There's incompetent things put in. We have illegal aliens that are multiple killers with multiple murder records getting Medicaid. I don't think anybody minds if we cut that.
You got to be kidding me. Is that true?
The Democrats, on the other hand, are going to destroy it because they're going to leave these people on. We're cutting three things: waste, fraud, and abuse. We're not changing Medicaid, and we're not changing Medicare, and we're not changing Social Security. And if I wanted to do those things, I would have done it during my 4 years that we were.
Mr. President, what's your message to your fellow New Yorker Republicans who are hung up on the SALT issue?
Well, SALT is a very interesting thing because the governors of New York and Illinois, you know, the big JB who's going nowhere. Probably right now he could be the worst governor in the country. But Illinois and Gavin Newsom, those are the people that want this. And they're Democrat states. They're all Democrats.
Why do you still call him Governor Newsom? No, God. And I would definitively say that California has the worst governor in the United States of America. Followed closely by J.B. Pritzker in Illinois. 100%. I would say that those guys are two of the worst governors in the United States of America. I can't think of a worse governor than those two. I'm thinking about it. I'm seriously thinking about it right now. Are there worse governors than Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker? Y'all tell me, do y'all think it's a worse governor out here than Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker? I can't think of a worse governor than those two, honest to gosh.
Reagan tried very hard to get this passed. was unable to do it the way we have it.
Westmore.
Where basically everybody's treated equally. He tried it so
Tried to
hard,
petition
and he
to have
never
him
got it
recalled?
done. He was always disappointed. He never got it done. We got it done. Now people want to change it. So we're going to be talking about that. But the biggest beneficiary, if we do that, are governors from New York, Illinois, and California. And those governors are the ones that blew it because they weren't able to get it. So I think we're going to be explaining that. These are all very blue states that I don't really believe. If we had honest elections, I don't actually believe. I think I would have won California. I would have won New York. I even think I would have won Illinois. I think we have to, we're going to start this after. I was talking to Mike, and again, I'm his biggest fan. I love this guy. He's the only guy who could have walked in with a one. Think of it. You can't be a guy like me and have a one majority. You have to be a guy like him, a nice person. He's very religious. He prays. He's a man of God. And so am I, but he's really to a new level, I will tell you. He is a great guy. They love him in Louisiana, and they love him that's the only kind of guy. Somebody said, oh, well, we want somebody to, if you put a certain personality in there, you would have never, look at what he got passed, what he's gotten passed. And just so you understand, he's gotten this passed too. And I don't think there's anybody I could give you guys that is so tough. You guys would run if you ever looked at him. If you ever saw some of these guys, you would not ask him questions. You'd be afraid to. This guy did something that I don't think there's anybody that's more well-suited to be Speaker.
He is a pretty good leader in that he always praises the people that surround him that is successful, that do great things. Shout out to Trump. I think that this is the first time that we've seen solidarity in Congress to where we can actually solve for some things, get some investments done, take back some of the heavy and strict regulations that's preventing us from being able to generate a lot of revenue inside of the United States of America. Also, Department of Government Efficiency is still doing their job quietly. You don't even see anybody complaining about it anymore. Why? Because you don't have the figureheads at the forefront of it, but at the same time, you see so much still happening, and they're still auditing the federal government, and they will be for at least a whole nother year. The one thing you don't see, though, is any Democrat doing anything responsible, productive, helpful. They are just on tour right now. The Democrats are taking 2 years off. Democrats are taking 2 years off. They ain't even tripping about it no more. They taking 2 years off. They slow motion. Anyways, let's go over to him speaking about his phone call. Trump got so much going on all the time. He is always working, always up. And the fact that he's this transparent in everything that he's doing is visible for people to see. I think that y'all need to appreciate that.
Do you have plans to give this award to any other families posthumously find themselves in the same position as having made this sacrifice? And then after the test, one question about your call today.
Having to do from a previous? Yeah. We're looking at the possibility of that, yeah. You had a lot of people die in the line of duty when you think of it. And we figured it was time to start. We haven't had the situation arise. This was a terrible situation. We haven't had it arise yet, but we're looking at going back a little bit and see what we can do about that. Yes, strongly. Yeah, go ahead.
On your call with President Putin today, you'd mentioned that the Pope would like to take a role potentially in mediating these talks. Does that mean that the U.S. is taking a step back from...
No. I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance. And I saw that it was discussed yesterday, so I thought, and people told me that they'd be honored to do it. I would imagine they would be. So, no, I think it would be maybe helpful. There's tremendous bitterness, anger, and I think maybe that could help some of that anger. So having it at the Vatican would be, in Rome, would be I think it would be a great idea. Thank you.
Mr. President, as you know,
can I say...
Go ahead.
Mr. President, as you know, 2.5 months ago, Ukraine President Zelensky agreed to that 30-day ceasefire that's been on the table all of that time. What was the extent of your conversation with President Putin today about having him agree to that same 30-day ceasefire proposal that you, Mr. President, put on the table?
Well, what we've done, and very strongly, is we said, let's get this thing going. I had many of the leaders of European nations on the line with me right after the call. and we have to get that thing solved. 5,000 young people every single week on average. And I've seen satellite pictures. You don't want to see these pictures. We'll have to see what happens. This was not my war. This is not a war that would have happened if I were president. This is not my war. I'm just here to try and help. We've spent hundreds of billions of dollars on this war, and yet that's not, frankly, we made much more than that just in 4 days in the Middle East. It's a lot of money, but we do much. This is about thousands of people dying every single week. 5,000, 6,000 people dying every single week.
That's crazy.
And just like you have the relatives here, wives and children and everything, you have, these soldiers, they say goodbye in Ukraine and in Russia, and then their parents never see them again, except maybe in pictures of horrible scenes, because I've seen some scenes, I've never seen anything like it. So we're going to see if we can get it taken care of. Yeah, please.
First off, our thanks to the members of law enforcement who are here, and our condolences to the families. We're very sorry
People
for their
that
loss.
validate and authorize
Mr. President,
war,
on
people that validate and authorize war while watching other people go and fight it. I don't know, man. To think that there's people that are profiting off of other people dying is just one of the most biggest crimes that you could ever possibly commit, in my opinion. To think that people are benefiting from other people dying and fighting a needless, senseless war that could have been prevented. If something could be prevented, but it's not, that's one of the worst things ever. One of the worst things ever. I just can't imagine it. I don't like it. The thought of it, people going to die. And see, we was looking at footage just a while ago of people getting snatched up over in Ukraine, and they running out of people. Ukraine running out of people. Russia's running out of people. People are fleeing, trying to figure out how they can escape war. They hiding. Famine is in the land. Destruction. Total, absolute destruction. All for two men trying to make sure that they solidify their power in the region. No matter what you say, no matter how you frame it, bro. This is two guys that got ego. And don't tell me about who started it. This ain't no playground. This is real. This goes all the way back to the mid-90s, early to mid-90s. You got two guys who have so much beef to where they are willing to sacrifice millions and millions of lives, to the point to where they're kidnapping people off the street that is walking their dog or walking down the street or walking to the grocery store and throwing them on the front lines in order to be killed. That's crazy to me, bro. I know God just be looking down on this earth like, look at these dummies. Look at these dummies. Koreans is over there dying for Russia. They don't even know what Russia stand for. Don't know nothing about Russia. Koreans is over there dying. Kim Jong-un is probably getting a healthy profit as a result of sacrificing his own people. Putin get his own people killed along with the Koreans. Ukrainians is up there dying on the front lines and getting kidnapped and thrown into war. It's so dumb, bro. It's such a needless, stupid thing.
On Ukraine and on your call today that you had with President Putin, you said last week that you thought nothing was going to happen, no advances would be made until you and Putin got together. Do you still feel that way?
I think something's going to happen. It's a got very big egos involved, I tell you. Big egos involved. But I think something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'd just back away and they're going to have to keep going. Again, this was a European situation. It should have remained a European situation. Should have remained. But we have, because the past administration felt very strongly that we should be involved, that we got involved much more than Europe did in terms of the money and all of the things that we gave. We gave massive amounts, I think record-setting amounts given to a foreign. There's never been anything like this, both weaponry and money. And Europe gave a lot also, but they didn't give anywhere near what we gave. We gave probably almost 3 times the amount. And it's just a shame. The whole thing is a shame.
Did you ask
the level of death is just a shame. Yeah.
Did you ask President Putin to meet with you?
About what?
About Ukraine.
Of course I did. I talked to him about it. I said, when are we going to end this, Vladimir? I've known him for a long time now. I said, when are we going to end this bloodshed, this bloodbath? It's a bloodbath. And I do believe he wants to end it. You know, when I made the call, I told the people last night, I spoke to the heads of the different countries, Germany and Finland. We had Italy, as you know, and UK was on the line today, and a couple of others. And then they were in turn calling everyone. Ursula was there from the European Union. She was terrific. And we spoke for a long time about it. And they got a problem. It's a big, big problem. It's a terrible war. It's a very hard to extradite themselves away from what's taking place over there. The amount of anger, the amount of hate, and the amount of death. It's very hard, very tough situation. But I said to him, we got to get going. And I did say also, if I thought that you couldn't do it, I'd step away, because what are you going to do? We don't have boots on the ground. We wouldn't have boots on the ground. But we do have a big stake. And the financial amount that was put up is just crazy. It's crazy. This isn't.
I agree. And I'm ready for this whole thing to end, just for humanity's sake. It doesn't even affect me personally, outside of our tax dollars have for a long time been going into funding this thing. But just for humanity's sake, I just can't imagine going to die for another man that don't even care anything about me. Imagine your leader sending you over to Russia to fight people that you don't even know anything about, and they don't even care anything about you.